like that. So now they all come in like this, which is pretty nice. And the Lin is kind of coming in too much together, so I kind of want to spread these out some more. So we'll move the I back, move the in back a little bit more. There we go. That looks good. Now the apostrophe is also coming in too quickly, so we'll go ahead and move that back there. Yeah. I love it. I love it a lot. Sweet. So now we can do the rotation for the rest of the letters here. So we'll just move, this is the last frame of the T, so we'll just move in a little bit, and we'll kind of mimic how it was rotating, which was kind of like double tap R, kind of like that. So now when we play it, it's kind of short, so we'll move it out like that, and somewhere around there. Looks good. All right, we'll do the same thing with the Y. So we'll move it up a couple keyframes, and then we'll just move it, rotate a little bit. Looks good. Move it up a couple frames. We'll do the L, like that. Sweet. We'll do the same thing with the I. And the N as well. Move it up a couple keyframes. Double tap R. Rotate. Looks good. And the apostrophe as the last little baby. Alright, perfect. Maybe I want the apostrophe to go down, actually. No, that doesn't work with the physics. Alright. There we go. So now when we play this, it looks good. So the letters are moving. They got a little bit of motion to them. But what I want to do even more is add a couple of modifiers to these to make them shake a little bit on their own. So we don't have to animate them, so it looks a little bit better. We'll go ahead and drag our timeline into our viewport into two pieces so we can see a bit easier. And we'll move this. We'll change this to the graph editor, and we'll scale in a little bit here. Now with the white letters selected, once again, because those are the ones that are parented everything to, so then we move those, then everything moves. On the white letters, we'll open up this right-hand side panel and go to modifiers, and we'll add a modifier. Drag that up and we'll add a modifier of noise, and this will be, this will help us out a little bit. So if I play this, you can see it's kind of being noise, but it's actually noising the scale value. So let me go ahead and just downsize this, upsize rather, the object transforms, and we will, instead of doing scale, we will go ahead and do rotation. So we'll use the X, Y, and Z rotation coordinates here. We'll also do the location, so we might as well do the location first. We'll do the location first. We'll add a modifier of noise, and we'll change the scale up. I'm going to let this play a little bit, but I'm going to mute the audio so I can speak over it, because we don't need audio right now anyway. So I'm going to play this, and we're going to bump the scale up to maybe 10, and the strength to the 0.2 maybe, and maybe the scale needs to go up to 50. No, 50, not 5. 50. And the strength can probably stay on 2. Yeah, sure. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and hit this little copy button right here to copy that to the clipboard. And then go to Y location, paste that. And also, I forgot to do this, and it's going to be kind of messed up right now, so we have to fix it, but it's fine. We'll go to the frame rate and change it to 60, because 60 looks much better than 24 frames. And now that's way too fast, as you can see. So what we're going to do is we're going to double tap A to select everything in our viewport, and then go down here to the timeline, hit S to scale. Make sure you're on the first keyframe, or else it'll scale depending on where you are, which is not what we need. So we'll go to the first frame, hit S to scale, and we'll just scale it up a little bit. Now with the audio back on, we'll unmute it. And it's kind of messed up now because I muted it. Let's go back to the video sequence editor, because the time is off now, because the seconds are 60 seconds. 60 seconds is messed up now, so we had to fix this. And about right here. All right, so about right there, which is frame 370, so we'll grab it from 370 and move it to the front, so right about there, we'll grab it and pull it. Alright, we'll move it a couple of frames backwards too, so 2.8 is now our new start frame. And then we'll, actually I don't want to do that. We'll leave it on 240, and we'll just hit G to move this over just a little bit. There we go. Alright, that's good. Now the end frame will also be different. So we'll move that out a little bit. and find the end of it, which is about right here. So we'll zoom it out. Right there. All right. So what is that? 9. Wait, no. It's 839. So we'll go at 839. Put that right there. Now when we play this, the beginning's there, and the end is there. So sweet. So now we have that all set up. We can go back to. I forgot to do that earlier. We go ahead and go back to the graph editor and mess around with all the other versions now. So we need to do the noise. So if I go ahead and I mess around with the noise, now I can mute the audio. Once again, playback, mute. Now, we need to mess around with the Y location, so I can change the offset of this. We need to turn the offset of it to a random number. Just scroll it a little bit, because I want to make sure that we do not have them going in the same direction as the X location. So we're to just scale that up a little bit, and I also want to make this move less, so we'll go 20, and then 20 on the X. Sorry, no, that's the wrong value. That's the wrong one. So scale needs to still be on 50, and then the strength needs to be on 0.1. I don't like it. It's moving too much, so we'll just move it around like that. Looks good. And then we'll copy the Y location, put that on the Z location, paste right there, make sure that little button is checked, and then we'll change the offset to another random value so it's not going in together, so they don't move together, which is nice. That's exactly what we need. Now it's moving in random locations, which is nice, a very subtle motion on there, which looks good. We'll do the same thing for the rotation now, so we'll go to the rotation, paste that in, make sure that button's on, put this one on 0, and the same thing on Y. Paste it, make sure that button's on, and we'll change it to a random value. Actually, you can just leave it right there, to be honest with you. Actually, I don't want to. I want to make sure everyone is a random value, so we'll just make this one -1. Put it on Z, make sure that button's on, and a random value. I'll do something insane like 10,796, whatever that is. That's too much. Oh, that's way too much. Let's just do like that. Alright, so what is that? 134,000. Yeah, sure. That's not an insane number or anything like that. We'll go ahead and now we can unmute this so we can get a look-see. Alright, so now you can see it is rotating, it's moving, it's looking good. Just the S, of course, we didn't do the T-Y-L-I-N or apostrophe. But you can see how it's moving, looking good. It has a little bit of motion to it, so it's not stale and stagnant, it's not boring. Looks good. Now for the Y, I think for the Z, sorry, rotation, I actually want to bump the strength up to maybe 0.5. That might be too much. And I want to change the scale to 100. So it rotates a little bit more than the other axes, which I think looks much better. Alright, so that looks good. Looks nice. Looks amazing. Now for the rest of the objects, we will do the same thing. So on the Y for the T, Y, L, on the location and rotation values for the T, Y, L, I, N, and apostrophe, I'll do the same exact thing I just did. So paste, make sure that button's on, change that to 0. The first one can always be 0 since you don't have to worry about changing it. And then that one, I don't want any of the numbers to be the same other than the ones that are on 0. And we'll paste that, make sure it's on. Maybe we'll go negative with that. And the same thing over and over again for all of these different ones. We will go ahead and fix them all up. And I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go through and put them not on 0 either. I just don't like anything being on 0. I want them all to be 100% different values. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's make sure they're not on 0 at all. We'll do something like that. And this one as well. All right, so I don't want them to be on 0. I changed my mind. I don't like when they're on 0. It always works better if they're all random. So I'll finish that for the rest of the letters, and I will be back when I am done with that. Alright, so I am finishing up the N right now, and all I have to do left is the apostrophe. We can go ahead and take a look at this once I am done. It does take a while, like I said, and depending on how many letters you have and whatever word you are making, it will definitely take a longer amount of time, but that is totally fine because this effect really does pay off. I'm just going ahead and typing in the other values instead of worrying about scrolling my mouse, because you usually scroll to a similar number when you do that. I realize, so I'm just typing them in now. Alright, so if I play this, I'm going to actually unmute the audio for this again.